As a crypto lawyer, I value disagreement. Markets function better when regulators are forced to confront opposing views, and agencies are healthier in general when internal dissent exposes weak assumptions and untested theories. And in that respect, Commissioner Caroline Crenshaw's presence at the SEC mattered. She served as the Commission's lone Democratic voice through the end of her holdover period and formally departed the agency on January 2, 2026. Her exit leaves the SEC operating with 3 sitting commissioners, Chair Paul Atkins and Commissioners Hester Peirce and Mark Ayuda. But acknowledging the value of dissent does not require suspending scrutiny. It is fair and necessary to ask whether the SEC during the prior administration, and Crenshaw in particular, demonstrated sufficient command of the crypto markets they sought to regulate, and whether the agency's approach over the past several years, prior to this administration of course, meaningfully advanced investor protection or instead impose avoidable costs through uncertainty and inconsistency. Crenshaw emerged as the Commission's most persistent crypto skeptic during a period of profound regulatory friction. She consistently argued that many digital assets fit within existing securities law frameworks and resisted calls for a bespoke regulatory regime. Her signature moment, at least for most crypto lawyers, was her dissent from the SEC's approval of spot Bitcoin ETF products, which she criticized as unsound and ahistorical, emphasizing risks that she believed remained unresolved in the underlying spot markets. That dissent reflected a core premise that the regulatory acceptance should follow, not precede, credible answers on manipulation, custody, valuation, and market integrity. Yet, the broader record also reflects an agency that for years struggled to articulate a clear and durable regulatory theory for crypto that market participants could apply with confidence across products and business models. And that's really what the problem is. Enforcement actions often carried the practical weight of de facto rulemaking, and whatever one thinks of that strategy, it has predictably produced uneven guidance, shifting emphasis, and a compliance environment where similarly situated actors could experience very different outcomes depending on timing, posture, and forum. Crenshaw's skepticism often rested on legitimate investor protection concerns, but skepticism alone is not expertise. Crypto markets raise novel questions about decentralization, governance, custody, market structure, and the boundaries between intermediated and non-intermediated systems. Those questions demand technical fluency and conceptual precision. When regulators lean on inherited labels without consistently mapping them to how those systems actually function, the result is not merely aggressive oversight. It is legal uncertainty that can distort incentives and push activity into less visible corners. Crenshaw herself broadened her critique in late 2025 beyond crypto, and in a Brookings speech on December 11, 2025, and in a contemporaneous interview, she warned that the SEC's direction risked weakening disclosure, deterrence, market transparency, and she framed the deregulatory drift as historically familiar and potentially dangerous. In those remarks, she connected policy change to institutional capacity, pointing to staffing losses and diminished tools for detecting fraud and monitoring risk. Importantly, those were not presented as abstract concerns. They were part of her thesis that the agency was reducing friction for industry while simultaneously reducing its own ability to see problems early and respond effectively. Where I part ways, at least in emphasis, is this. The crypto industry's experience in recent years underscores a parallel truth that investor protection is not advanced when rules are unknowable, standards shift midstream, and enforcement theories lack coherence. Markets do not require regulators to be permissive, they require them to be competent, predictable, and grounded in realities of how products function. When the SEC regulates by assertion and enforcement rather than clear rulemaking, it may win individual skirmishes while losing the broader project of building credible, administrable standards. And Crenshaw's departure certainly narrows the range of internal debate at the Commission, which should concern anyone who values institutional rigor. The SEC is supposed to be bipartisan. It's an independent agency that works best when disagreements sharpen policy rather than polarizes it. But her exit presents an opportunity to recalibrate and really think about, as incoming commissioners are considered, it's not so much about just filling the seat, right, with somebody who's Democratic. It's filling the seat with someone who may have policy decisions and policy ideologies that differ from the incumbents, but are shaped by grounded understanding of the technology and the products and the industry behind it, so that this deep market understanding, can actually translate into regulatory certainty without paralysis. And if the SEC is serious about this, I think it has to move beyond the partisan mentality surrounding the crypto industry. And the industry and investors alike will continue to bear the cost of uncertainty if that is not accomplished. That's all for now. My name is Braden Anderson. I'm a partner at Gesmer Updegrove. Hopefully you enjoyed this.